Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. And yesterday I did the top 10 championship playoff finals of the 21st century. Today I'll be going into the top 10 Champions League finals of the 21st century. Now this one was a really good one to research. There's been some very good Champions League finals in the last 20 years. It's a very unfortunate that Man United's game with Bayern Munich was in 1999, as that probably would have featured up there, but unfortunately I am just going to go off the 21st century. So from the year 2000 onwards, and there's been some real good games in there. And I think I've pretty much watched every Champions League final live since probably 2005 from Liverpool vs AC Milan. So I remember them quite fondly watching the whole 90 minutes as well. So going to crack on. And at number 10, we've got Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid in 2016. Now, I remember watching this final and being utterly heartbroken at the end for Atletico Madrid. It was the second Champions League final between the two clubs in just 3 years, and this game kind of sent you on all sorts of ways. I mean, Sergio Ramos netted an early goal for Real Madrid, and then Antoine Griezmann missed a second-half penalty before Carrasco equalised towards the end. And extra time and penalties was just nerve-wracking the whole way through. Every neutral, I believe, was probably cheering on Atletico Madrid because they just felt like they were so unlucky in 2014, and you felt again like it was going to happen here, and it did, unfortunately. On penalties, it was Juan Fran who stepped up and missed the vital penalty before Ronaldo, who had one of his quieter days, then scored the winning penalty. So yeah, I mean, this was a very interesting game. Really, it wasn't an amazing game by any means, but it was interesting. I think the fact Real Madrid scored first made Atletico come out a little bit more, so it made it a more interesting game, and it was Zinedine Zidane's first European trophy as well that he won as a manager at least. But yeah, this was an interesting game more than anything, and a very heartbreaking one. It was one of them ones that you just look back on with, it's just such a shame for Atletico Madrid. But yeah, that takes the number 10 spot. At number 9 we have at number 9 we have another Real Madrid Atletico Madrid game actually, which was the 2014 one where Real Madrid won 4-1 in after extra time, which the scoreline is very misleading in a way. This was a very close final. In fact, Atletico Madrid was seconds away from winning it. Diego Godin put them in front in the first half through a header, and it was until the 93rd minute where Sergio Ramos came up with his late goals that he usually does in all these big games, when he equalised in the 94th minute, I believe it was, to break Atletico Madrid hearts, and then that kind of set the tone for extra time, where Gareth Bale, Marcelo and a Ronaldo penalty sealed Real Madrid's 10th Champions League, which again, it was another heartbreaking defeat for Atletico Madrid. This one was probably worse because just with how close they came to winning it, but no, in the end, again, the kind of heartbreak kind of elevates this on the list as well, that Atletico Madrid defended so well as they always do in Europe against Real Madrid. And yeah, this was just, it was very heartbreaking as well. So two finals between the two Madrid clubs, and it just ended in utter heartbreak because most neutrals really wanted Atletico Madrid to win, but Real Madrid got there, and this made the games very intriguing, and it was kind of underdog versus the masters of the Champions League necessarily in Real Madrid. In at number 8, we've got Barcelona versus Arsenal in 2006. Now, as an Arsenal fan, this is very hard to say this, but this was an interesting final. I mean, the red card by Jens Lehmann early on made for an interesting final, really. Although Barcelona probably should have took the lead after they should have played advantage and Deco did score, but that didn't actually happen. Arsenal took the lead through Sol Campbell. Despite having 10 men in this game, Arsenal created a lot of chances against Barcelona. But in the end, Barcelona prevailed. Goals from Samuel Eto'o and Giuliano Belletti, the right-back, being a surprise goal scorer for the winner. Having to bring on Manuel Almunia certainly didn't help Arsenal's case here, and this would have been Arsenal's first European trophy, so it was very disappointing they didn't manage to get there, but Barcelona were the favourites going into this, and in the end got there, despite Arsenal giving them a good game even with 10 men. And yeah, I'd say this fairly ranks at number 8. It was an interesting game as, you know, as far as games go, and it certainly had a lot of chances as well. This game did, if I remember correctly, had a lot of good chances in. At number 7, we have. Sorry, just trying to. Oh, we have Bayern Leverkusen versus Real Madrid in 2002. Now, this game gets elevated alone due to the winning goal from Zinedine Zidane, an absolutely brilliant goal. Real Madrid took the lead from Raul, and then the equaliser was from Lucio of Leverkusen, and then the winner was scored by Zinedine Zidane. Fantastic volley. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend going to check it out. As Roberto Carlos, I think it was, crossed it in, Zidane met it with a left foot volley. One of the best, if not the best, Champions League final goal ever. But yeah, I mean, that All the goals came in the first half. The second half was where Iker Casillas made a real name for himself. He came on as a young goalkeeper, as Madrid's first choice keeper at the time went off injured, and Casillas made some brilliant saves. He made 2 or 3 top saves to win Madrid the Champions League. Really the game where that we started to notice how good Iker Casillas really was, which started off a great career for him at Real Madrid as well. But yeah, Real Madrid again featuring in this list, this time at number 7. Number 6, we've got AC Milan 2, Liverpool 1 in Athens in 2007 now. Obviously, Real Madrid and AC Milan and Liverpool will feature twice in this list, as most of you probably already would have guessed. But yeah, the 2007 final was a decent watch, if I remember. Filippo Inzaghi really proved how much of a poacher he is, scoring 2 very poachers goals, and Dirk Kuyt did pull back a late equaliser for Liverpool, but that wasn't enough to get them back in the game this time. I mean, nothing on their 2005 classic, but this was a good game though. Liverpool actually played quite well in this game, but Milan, of course, Inzaghi really proving why he was the ultimate poacher striker, really, and he's the man who got there in the end to make it AC Milan their 7th Champions League and their last one, actually, that they won, which is now 13 years ago. In at number 5, we have got Borussia Dortmund 1, Bayern Munich 2 in 2013 now. Another game really similar to the Madrid derbies that will just break your heart in a way, because Dortmund did so well to get to this final. They went through a pretty tough group and they knocked out Real Madrid in the semi-final. And this game, you when Robben did score the win, you kind of felt your heart kind of sinking away, because Dortmund, you just felt like really... I mean, Bayern Munich obviously lost the final a year earlier to Chelsea in very, unfortunate circumstances, which even made you feel quite sorry for them. But this was Dortmund who were new to this situation. They were competing in their first Champions League final in many years, but Bayern Munich were competing in, I think it was their third in 4 years. So, they were kind of used to this situation. But no, in the end, Mandzukic gave Bayern Munich the lead before a penalty equalised from Ilkay Gundogan, and then it was Arjen Robben who scored the winner. But yeah, this was a very entertaining game, played at Wembley from start to finish. This was a real interesting watch, and in the end you kind of felt the disappointment for Dortmund at the end, but a good game played between 2 very good German sides at the time. In at number 4, we've got Barcelona 3, Manchester United 1 at Wembley in 2011 now. This game was interesting because Man United had just won the Premier League quite convincingly, and Barcelona were coming to Wembley, and everyone was kind of wondering how Barcelona were going to cope. I mean, they did have Lionel Messi, of course, who was at this point, as he has been for many years, amazing. And this game was more interesting. I put this in because I just couldn't believe how much Barcelona ran United ragged this day, because I really thought United were going to give them a much better game they did in the 2009 final. But Barcelona just absolutely played United off the park from start to finish. They were absolutely amazing in this game, and it really was the Barcelona golden years under Pep between 2009 and 2012, where they just put on a footballing clinic and, really did prove, despite Man United winning the Premier League comfortably, the contrasting quality between the two teams. And this was Sir Alex Ferguson's very good Manchester United team as well. So, excellent from Barcelona. And goals from Pedro, Messi and David Villa. A brilliant goal from David Villa. The Wayne Rooney's goal didn't really count for much, but United did score and the game ended 3-1. But yeah, Barcelona were amazing, and I put this so high on the list because it's an utter shock, really, how Barcelona did play them off the park in their own country as well. It was just brilliant. In at number 3, we've got Bayern Munich versus Chelsea in 2012. This was, again, like, as far as one-sided final goes, other than the scoreline, this game was as one-sided as you're ever going to see. Bayern Munich had sort of 37 shots in this game. Chelsea obviously, they were just penned in. They won the semi-final against Barcelona before this. Chelsea were just penned back the whole game, and Petr Cech had to pull off many great saves, and Bayern Munich did break the deadlock with a Thomas Muller header, which looked like it won it on their own turf as well, but Didier Drogba came up with a headed equaliser, which forced it to penalties, where it was written in the stars for Didier Drogba to score the winner in his final ever Chelsea game, of his first spell anyway. Did return to the club a couple of years later. But yeah, this was a very fitting way. Didier Drogba, of course, was sent off in the previous final Chelsea competed in 2008, but he more than made up for it here, scoring the winning penalty and bowing out of his Chelsea career on a major high. But it was brilliant. I mean, Chelsea to get the win in such a way was just... It was heroics, really. And Roberto Di Matteo, you look at his managerial career since, really proving he's not really a great manager, but here he worked absolute heroics in this team, and yeah, and Chelsea got their first ever Champions League win. It was truly brilliant, really, as a neutral to watch such a fighting performance, and in the end, Chelsea to come through. And they beat Bayern on their own patch as well, which isn't the only time it's been done in the 21st century, beating them on their own patch in a Champions League final. But yeah, that was that. And then number 2, we've got Manchester United versus Chelsea in 2008. Now, this game was probably the two of the best English teams I've ever seen, arguably the two best English teams. But yeah, this was excellent. I mean, when both teams were really at the peak of their powers. I mean, United were under Sir Alex Ferguson, excellent team, of course, as we know. Chelsea hadn't had Jose Mourinho, but they'd sacked him earlier on in the season, and then Avram Grant was actually in charge at this point. But still, two great teams. And Cristiano Ronaldo, the first season I'd probably say where he made a major name for himself, give Manchester United the lead before Frank Lampard equalised, and the game went all the way to penalties. And in the end, it was Van der Sar who saved Nicolas Anelka's penalty, which gave United the Champions League for the third time. And yeah, this was just I just don't know how to describe it other than just a brilliant game between two amazing teams at the time, really. Like, both teams were at the top of their game, and the final, okay, the scoreline was only a 1-1 draw, but it was just played at such a good pace, and you could just tell how good the two teams really were, and it felt like you were watching the two best teams in the world. And I think at the time we were, and of course we could have got this final a year later as Chelsea were controversially beaten by Barcelona. So we could have got this final 2 years in a row, but the 1 year we did have, it was truly brilliant. And it was, if it wasn't for first ever All English final, and it was truly well worth the watch. If you haven't seen it, I'd certainly recommend it, just for how good the two teams were back here. And number 1, you won't be surprised to know, is Liverpool 3, AC Milan 3 in 2005. Liverpool won the game on penalties. Obviously, this one was probably always going to be number 1, and this game was predicted to be quite a dull game, I remember at the time. And Liverpool were 3-0 down at half-time due to goals from Maldini and 2 from Hernan Crespo. It was just when it was 3-0, you kind of just wrote Liverpool off. Liverpool finished 5th in the Premier League. You kind of felt like they were overachieving, getting to this Champions League final. But the way they just turned it round second half in a mad spell, Steven Gerrard header, Vladimir Smica, and then it was a Xabi Alonso who missed the original penalty but followed up to score. Truly amazing, really, the fact they came back into it and then they took it all the way to penalties, whereas Andrei Shevchenko, the man who scored the winning penalty 2 years earlier, would miss, and one of the best strikers in the world at this point. And that gifted Liverpool the Champions League, their 5th Champions League. One that not many people saw coming, really. AC Milan were probably, you look at their starting 11 in this game, there wasn't a weakness to be found. One of the best Champions League teams we've seen this century. And Liverpool had not the best team, really. They were nowhere near in the title race in the Premier League. They were quite an above average team, but no, they really worked wonders this day. And Lady Luck was certainly showing them. And Liverpool won the Champions League in what was definitely by far the best Champions League final, in my opinion, we've seen. It just had everything in the game. It was an emotional roller coaster, especially if you're a fan of the two clubs. But even as a neutral, you certainly felt the emotion of the roller coaster. But yeah, so that's my list overall. If you guys would make any changes, please let me know. But yeah, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos soon. Thank you very much.